The world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham.
Jay is not human.
Jay showing you how to find more money. He's making it rain.
This is a man that you cannot afford to be without.
1-800-88-12345. This is the ultimate entrepreneur with Jay Abraham.
Hi, it's Paul Durante. One of the most important parts of your business, your body, your physicality. And no one knows that better than Shaun T. He's had the #1 infomercial 7 years in a row. You've seen Insanity, Asylum, Hip Hop Abs. Shaun T is an industry.
I think it's 100%, I think it's a team. Your body and your business is a team because at the end of the day, it comes down to the confidence that you possess for you. And a lot of people, as an entrepreneur, at least from my side of things, you're constantly meeting new people, you're forming new relationships. It's kind of like a big networking convention. That's what your life is about.
1-800-88-12345. That's the ultimate entrepreneur hotline powered by Dial 800. Get more calls, more sales, more response. With a custom memorable number like ours from dial800.com, they have amazing customer service. 10 million DVDs sold. $350 million in DVD sales. Your business, your body. Shaun T when we get back.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
The world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham. Jay showing you how to find more money. He's making it rain. 800-88-12345. This is the ultimate entrepreneur with Jay Abraham.
I'm very excited to speak with a hero of mine. I've never met him, but he literally changed my life. You know him from TV. You know his fitness products. They've got these great names like Insanity and Asylum. Welcome, Shaun T.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey, Shaun, on behalf of all men, your body, those abs, stop it. You got to eat some donuts because you're making us all look bad.
Well, to be very honest, my favorite thing to eat is donuts.
Really?
So I might take you up on that offer, but I can't right now because I'm really training really hard, so I have to try to stay away from the donuts. At this moment.
If you're training really hard, I'd like to see what Shaun T training really hard looks like. What are you training for?
I just have a lot of events coming up and a lot of shooting, some commercials and just photo shoots and things like that. So when I get to a point where they're kind of packed all in one spot, within a couple of weeks or so, then I try to really, really, really hone in the diet, the nutrition aspect. But I mean, it's not going to be much different than what I look like now.
Well, you're looking pretty good right now.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And Shaun, I want to start by thanking you literally because you transformed me. I went through a bit of a tough time in my life, like we all do. And every day for 9 weeks, I put in your DVD and I got ripped, dig deeper. And then I got addicted. And then I did it again. And then I did Asylum. And then I did Asylum again. I'm sure you've heard this story many times.
Every story is different. And that's what I love about my career. And that's what I love about having people do workout DVDs at home, because it is a system where you do it alone, or you can do it with a family member if you want. But most of the time people are doing it alone, and you call up an infomercial. So you're watching TV late at night or early in the morning, and there's something that connects with you in order for you to actually purchase this product. And most of the time it's not people who are, big in fitness already. It takes them a while to get something like that. But it kind of attacks people who, like you said, maybe going through a tough time in their life, be it weight, nutrition, or just something personal. And I found that no two stories are the same. And that is what is ridiculously incredible to me. I always say humans are like snowflakes. When we learned as a kid that no two snowflakes are the same, and I thought that was just fascinating. And so now, as an adult and having a program where I get to listen to people's stories and their success stories, it is amazing to know that even if you and another guy sitting right next to you lost 20 pounds, the reason for you attacking that goal is completely different. And so congratulations, because everyone deserves that congratulations, because going through a tough time is not fun. You know, I think, like you said, we've all been there, but just the fact that you found something that you were able to connect to maybe take your mind off of what you were going through or just give you the power to actually go through it is just amazing. So I'm very happy. I was yelling at you for a very long time through the TV screen.
Shaun, there were days that I woke up and I did not want to press play. But I knew that if I didn't press play, I'd lose some of that momentum, and I just wanted to finish. You know what I mean? And once you finish,
Absolutely.
I would encourage anybody, if you do any of Shaun T's programs, and we'll talk about all of them in a little bit, but if you do any of Shaun T's programs, you have to really do them. You have to be committed. I realize sometimes, look, you might get the flu or you've got a really busy day at work, but even if you miss a day, go right back to it the next day, right?
Exactly. There's no such thing as missing a day. And the reason why I say that is when people buy the program and they send me a message and they're like, you know, I got sick or I had a crazy day at work and I wasn't able to do the workout, you're right. I'm like, go back and try it again the next day. Because while I give you Insanity or the other programs that I have and I give you the calendar, you know, I tell people this is a blueprint to what you are capable of doing. So if you can only do 3 days a week, that's totally fine. I just want you to find something that you can actually commit to. And my number one goal for people when they're doing any fitness regimen or weight loss program is to leave yourself wanting more. Because if you overwhelm yourself, it's kind of like, you know, I don't want to do this, or you get frustrated, but leave yourself wanting more. So if you get sick, it's okay. Take that day off so that you want it when you feel better.
This show is The Ultimate Entrepreneur, and we want to talk about your business in a second, but I also want to promote the fact that we're both on this great new platform, Play It, CBS's Play It. I love your show, Define Your Life. It's fun, it's motivating, it's cool. When I listen to it, I want to hang out with you. Tell us about Define Your Life. Tell us about the podcast.
Well, first of all, I'll say you can hang out with me whenever you want. I'm
in.
always in New York, so let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, Define Your Life, it is fun. What's very interesting about, I think, me as a person and as a fitness professional, my number one thing, like, I don't think it's about the weight. I don't think it's about the exercise at all. I don't think that's what drives us to be successful in our health and fitness. I think what drives us to be successful in our health and fitness is having the mental strength to be able to press play. Because the hardest part about going through Insanity is not necessarily the exercise, it's motivating yourself to do it. And so that's kind of what Define Your Life is about. It's more about, what do you have to offer this world? And first and foremost, do you actually believe that you have the internal power to be successful and great at something? And within my show, we talk about sexual abuse. We talk about everything. I mean, we go from sexual abuse to laughing about something. I tell stories from when I was a kid that was extremely embarrassing, to having guests on the show who lost 80 pounds, some from falling off of a roof, some from, it's just a smorgasbord of different people, and being able to trying to be able to connect to people who have all different types of people out there. And it's just another testament for me to let people know that, number one, you're not alone in your stress, and number two, you are a unique individual. And here are some things we can talk about to actually help you, feel better about who you are and how ultimately you have the power to define your life.
Well said. Shaun, this show that you're on now, Ultimate Entrepreneur, The Ultimate Entrepreneur, it's educational, it's inspirational, motivational, we hope, because being an entrepreneur is hard. But I feel that if my body is right, it helps my business. And I personally love working out first thing in the morning. What are your thoughts on how your body can affect your business, whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee?
I think it's 100%. I think it's a team. Your body in your business is a team, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the confidence that you possess for you. And a lot of people, as an entrepreneur, at least from my side of things, you're constantly meeting new people, you're forming new relationships. It's kind of like a big networking convention. That's what your life is about. You're going, for me, I travel. I'm home maybe 6 days a month, so I'm on the road most of the time. And ultimately, I have to feel good. So I have to make that time to work out. Working out, when I first started in fitness, was easy because that's what I was doing. I was teaching group exercise and personal training, and kind of just, that was where I was making my money. And then when I moved on to be able to enhance that to work for myself, then fitness actually started to become secondary. And I had to realize that my body, my grandfather used to say, your body is your temple. Like, forget about a house or a hotel or a car or anywhere you could actually rest. Your body is the place where you are at rest. So you have to take care of that more than anything. And so the fact that, I learned that lesson so young as a kid, it really has helped my business thrive. And here's this kind of like a little funny story. When I walk up to someone at the airport, or if someone walks up to me at the airport, at the grocery store, or on the streets of New York, the first thing they do is they get a quick feel of my abs, or they ask me if I can lift up my shirt. So I need to be, and sometimes, you just finish going to a restaurant, or you just drink a lot of water or whatever, and you're like, I don't really feel like lifting up my shirt right now. But, that's kind of a joke, but at the end of the day, your body is your temple. And I think that's the lesson for people to take away. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're building your business, the first thing you need to do, I love how you work out first thing in the morning. That is like refueling the gas in a car. And I always say people love their car. They got to put the right gas in the car. And they don't let it go below a quarter tank. And I'm like, but what about you? How do you fill your gas tank up every day? Where is your energy coming from? And ultimately, you want to drive down the street, or you want to show up to a meeting or whatever, and you want your car to be spotless. But what about your body? Because that is more of a representation of you than a material thing. So you need to attack that first. And I think the more you do that, the more you will be connected to yourself. Obviously, being physically fit has a ton of scientific benefits to your body. But more than that, ultimately, it's your mind and being able to feel good when you step out of your car to walk around. And I tell people, and I hope I can say this on your show, like, when you feel good naked, you'll feel good everywhere.
Shaun, it's really, really true. And frankly, if I had your abs, people wouldn't have to ask me. I'd be going around showing them. I'd just be walking up to strangers saying, feel my abs.
But, it's so funny. So I have abs, and it's cool. They're not always looking the same. I still have to work at them, because at 37, from, when I started this at 26 or 27 to 37 is a little bit different. However, I would probably see you, because I actually find people to be attractive. Like, if I'm at the beach, I'm like, I find it attractive if you don't really have abs, but your body's toned. So I think it's interesting how, when you have something, you're like, oh, let me see if that person has it. That's attractive too. It's very interesting and fun.
You just made me feel a lot better about my body. I appreciate that.
Well, when we see each other and we hug, we'll feel each other's asses. How about that?
I'm gonna put that on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Shaun, so if you think back to the pioneers in your business, the Jack LaLannes, the Jane Fondas, the Richard Simmons, now there's you. How does that make you feel?
First of all, I don't even feel like I'm in that space.
You are, Shaun. You absolutely are.
Well, I thank you. And the reason why is because I stay very grounded to where I began. And that was, my initial story is I gained a lot of weight, and in that 50-pound weight loss journey, I changed my major from communications to sports science. And I didn't even make it to my ultimate goal. And before I even made it to my ultimate goal, I started to feel really great about myself. And I started teaching group exercise. And at one point in my life, I was teaching 20 classes a week or so. And I just remember every day going there and giving the people everything that I had, not because I wanted them to lose 40 pounds, but because I wanted them to feel as good as I did, being the fact that I was actually on this journey. Because that feeling made me just, my endorphins skyrocketed every day. And I mean, I'm at the time, I'm 19 or 20, and I'm teaching people who are at the time 40 years old. And I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. Like these older, quote unquote, older people are, listening to me, and they're telling me that I'm really enhancing their life. So that in itself was amazing. And I was like, I just want to hold on to this forever. But I did have the opportunity about 3 years ago to meet Billy Blanks, and it was one of the most amazing moments of my life because I was at this fitness convention in Germany, and I was able to be in a room and be considered an equal to, for me, who is one of the most amazing people, who is Billy Blanks in our industry. But when I think of him and I think of Richard Simmons and Jane Fonda and Jacqueline Lane, I mean, the thing that was amazing is all of them were different and still touching people's lives. And I feel that is where I'm able to constantly stay focused and grounded and not stressed when it comes to how I'm going to be successful in my business. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that there's quote unquote competition out there, but I don't really look at it as competition because it goes back to self. No matter how cool you are or how cool I am, not everybody's going to like you. It's impossible. It's just not going to happen. But the people who do like you and the people who do want to invest in what you have to offer are going to benefit from it in a great way. So I think when I say I don't even see that I'm on their level, is because I feel like while we were and are all, going down the path to make people healthy and fit, we all have a different way of doing it. And so it is actually an honor for you to put me in the likes of those great people. But I feel like if I stay focused on the journey and stay focused on the people who are benefiting from me, I will stay grounded, I'll stay humble, and I'll be a lot less stressed.
And Shaun, listen, humility is one of the most important things, I think, in life, especially in business. But these numbers speak for themselves. Over 10 million DVDs sold, 350 million in DVD sales, the number one infomercial 7 years in a row, over 1 million likes on Facebook. Shaun T is not just a guy. Shaun T is an industry. So take us through that entrepreneurial journey. You talked a little bit about what you did going through college, but how did your brand start? And then how did you become involved with Beachbody?
The brand, I have to go way back because it'll make sense. So, as a kid, they called me Shawnee. Like, it was like Shawnee, whatever. But then when I got to high school, I helped form this a cappella singing group called Creative Nature. And so in Creative Nature, that's when I became Shaun T. And people were like, oh my gosh, Shaun T. Like I would walk down the halls of high school and I was no longer Shaun, it was Shaun T. So when I got to college, people were just like, what's your name? Shaun T. Like it just kind of rolled off the tongue and it kind of stayed that way. And it was so cool. But to fast forward through, I think, as far as branding goes, like I said, I always say at the time where I was teaching those 20 classes a week, because at my college, one of the main things that they told us is that you have to be much more marketable than your colleagues. And so people would be in the health and fitness track and they would just be the personal trainer, or they would just do one specific thing. And I was like, I'm going to be health promotion, I'm going to learn about kinesiology, I'm going to be a personal trainer, and I'm going to not only teach aerobics, but I'm going to teach every class that you could possibly teach, from step to kickboxing to boot camp to dance. Like I was like, I'm just going to teach it all. And within that, I was involved in organizations in my school. So for me, it kind of started back then. I just was like, how can I make myself more marketable, and how can I learn as much as possible at this time so that later in my life I can, thrive and be the best that I can be in whatever I'm doing. Now, that's cut 10 years later. I'm teaching at a gym in West Hollywood, at Equinox in West Hollywood, and my classes are packed, and they're just, they're doing really well. And a producer from Beachbody comes up and is like, oh oh my God, your class is amazing. I didn't know she was from Beachbody, but I got in touch with her and she was like, we would love for you to come in and see if you could develop a fitness workout. And so I ended up developing Hip Hop Abs with them, the very first program. Hip Hop Abs did really well, but here's where the being marketable and for yourself pays off. So Beachbody wanted to create a brand new fitness program that was like really hard and just insane. And so my producer said to the CEO, she said, Shaun can do that. And he was like, no, he's just a dance guy. And she was like, he thinks he's just a dance guy. So I walked into his office and I'm like, what do you want this to be like? And he's like, I'm not telling you because I'm looking for trainers to actually do this insane workout. So I was like, for me, it was kind of funny because I'm just like, do you know who I am? Not like, cocky-wise, but I'm like, do you know who I am? Like, I can teach anything you want me to teach. So the next morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. I developed this workout with my coffee at my dining room table, called my friends up, had them meet me at a workout space, and I did what you now know is, I think is cardio, power, and resistance, what I developed at my dining room table at 5:30 in the morning. I put these people through it. None of them could finish it. They were like, oh, my God, this is hard. This is crazy. But I sent the video to the CEO, and literally a day later, he was like, you got the job. And so that was extremely validating for me. And it was almost like, you wipe your sweat off your forehead because I'm like, I spent all this money to get certified in every, group exercise and personal training thing possible. And I got certified in every class that I could possibly teach. And this is where it paid off. And from there it was more amazing than you would think. And just even talking about it now is very empowering because it really was something that really built my confidence up to say, I can not only be successful in the dance space on TV, but I could also be successful in the more hardcore fitness space. And then from there, what develops is the fact that when people come up to me, they're like, Shaun T, I love Insanity, but you're so motivating. And I was like, oh my God, people actually are getting the way that I want them to feel. Meaning like, they're like, just when I'm about to die in this workout, you say you're right there. And as I go through a 60 days of insanity and I'm doing pure cardio, and there's one point where we're doing power jacks, and, I speak in third person sometimes, and Shaun T says, the stronger you get, the better you feel. I was like, oh my God, like if everyone could feel like that. And then so my career just progressed and progressed and progressed to creating new programs, to people asking me to be a keynote speaker just because they love the way I'm able to motivate in the DVDs. And so now I travel to the world, not just doing fitness and exercise, but being able to speak. I'm in the process of writing a book, and now some, big name companies are wanting me to be a spokesperson for their company. So I'm really building my brand through being 100% who I am and authentic to who I am, and still staying grounded and looking at the foundation of where I came from and being able to pick these certain puzzle pieces and put them together so that I can I just want to be relevant forever for people as long as I can possibly do that.
Listen, I'll be doing Insanity for the next 30, 40, 50 years. So you've got no problems with relevancy, my friend. But listen, the show, The Ultimate Entrepreneur, we want to show people how you can start with a concept and turn yourself into a Shaun T. So take us through a typical business day. What does the Shaun T machine look like? Do you have partners, employees? Take us through a workday.
So a workday for me is I wake up maybe around 5:45 every day without an alarm clock. Now, this is when I'm home. I wake up at 5:45 every day without an alarm clock. I immediately try to connect with my fans, which is, I go to social media because Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're just definitely spaces where you can connect with people, you can get people's story. Again, that's the one thing that helps me begin my day and stay grounded with a success story from someone. Whether they're doing my workout or not, they could just be a partner. They could just be a quote-unquote follower on my page, and I just try to connect with that. once I do that, I grab my coffee and I finish drinking my coffee and I work out. I check my emails as I'm doing that. And I have right now the first person I think I communicate with every day is, well, besides my husband, Scott, of course, but is my business manager, Stephanie Phelps. You know, she's on the East Coast and I'm on West Coast time. So when I wake up, there's a flood of emails from her and we're just pushing every single boundary. It could be a new idea. It could be old ideas. It could be where I'm going to be next week. So then I finish with her and then I usually try to connect with my creative director because we have a bunch of projects that's happening that are more in the creative space. So we connect and we always try to get to the next level of any project every single day. So a project doesn't stay stagnant. We try to get to the next level so that it doesn't get lost with everything else that's going on, which is key to being an entrepreneur. Don't let things stay stagnant because when you have this idea, you have this brilliant feeling when you come up with an amazing idea. And if you let it drift off, it could kind of be like a relationship. Like if you don't give it attention, if you give it attention, it could be really amazing. If you don't give it attention, it's going to turn into something not good. So I always try with every project that I have, I try to like make it go to the next level. Then so I connect with her. My branding guy, he's Darren Tony, he's a late night worker, so he can work all night. So we don't really talk to him till like mid-afternoon, which is totally fine because I want people to work where they're at their highest quality. So I have a branding guy that is, you know, he infiltrates throughout the entire business and everything that we're getting involved in. And then I try to connect with what partners I have that's going on. Right now I'm the face of Fila Footwear for 2015, so I'm very excited about that. And also with Arctic Ease, which is a non-ice ice wrap. You should look it up. It's really amazing. So we try to connect with the partners and how we can, and Core Power, which is a protein shake. So it's important if you do have partners to connect with them, or even if it's just through social media or just doing a hashtag to, you know, show them love, because a lot of my day is about the building of relationships and staying in those relationships. And then, so my day starts early. So around 2:00, I'm kind of like settling down. At least I try, and it never happens. I'm starting to settle down from the craziness, and then that's my time where I can prepare what I want to talk about for my podcast for the next week. If it's not an on-location podcast, I can actually give my creative direction, focus to the different projects that I have going on. And then, you know, just kind of revisiting the emails that I looked at early in the day to see what is the next thing on the plate that I can actually start to build. And I just go on and on like that. So as a part of my whole team, I have my husband, Scott, who is basically the CEO of the company. And then I have Stephanie Phelps, who is my business manager. I have Darren Natoni, who's my branding. I have Danielle Natoni, who is my creative director. We have an executive assistant who is also the planner of our events, who's Alex. And then my support team outside of that would be my publicist and my agency, which is CAA. So there's a lot of layers to my business, but that's on a day where I'm home and just, you know, trying to keep up with what's going on. And then, but outside of that, there's getting up, there's making our way to the airport. And I usually drive my own car because I hate sitting in the back of cars because I get motion sickness easily. So it's going to the airport, and as me and Scott are going to the airport, he's firing off like 1,000 questions. And it's so funny because he's always like, can I ask you some questions right now? Because a lot of people know that the way I work, like if I'm really quiet, I'm not a writer down kind of guy. A lot of times I'm more of a creative in my head. So before he starts firing off questions, he's like, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, give me 5 minutes. And it's just because I'm working in my head. So, and then when I get on the plane, it's answering emails. It's writing what I want. Sometimes I have to write articles. So it's pretty crazy. But then when I get to a destination, I'll take you on a day of when I'm doing an event. I wake up usually at the same time around, depending on where I'm at. If I have to fly East Coast, I push it to like 6:30 or 7 o'clock because if I wake up at 5:45, it's 2:45, and I just feel crazy. On a day where I have an event, I actually wake up, have breakfast and drink my coffee, and I actually work out before I do an event where I'm working out, because my main focus for any time I teach a class, and I tell all group exercise instructors this and personal trainers, it's not about you. Like, that workout is not about you at all. So if you need to work out for the day, you need to go have your own time so that you can focus on your own body and your own life. Because when you commit to going to train a person or a group of people, you need to be solely focused on how they're going to take their body to the next level of fitness. So I work out before my events, and then whatever the event is, it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, and then I usually crash right after that. So I hope that answers a lot of questions, but I'm able to answer more if you have specific ones.
A lot of people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes when the person who's in front of the camera or in front of the world has to run that business day in, day out. I can see why you would crash at the end of the day, because you have a lot to do. When your name is on the door, you got to be doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make the machine continue to run.
It's pretty interesting. I went through a very stressful time because, especially when you're starting to build, there's a point in your momentum, and I'm still going through it now. I'm just able to handle it more. But there's a point when you're building momentum in your company where you actually feel like the box and the product. And for so long, because I use my body and my voice, I'm automatic. Like, people sometimes forget that I'm a human and I have a period where I need to rest. And when you're working with people in different time zones, when you wake up at 5:45 in the morning and people are already like, I need you to respond to this ASAP. And I'm like, you sent me 2 emails while I was sleeping. It could be a ridiculously crazy thing. And then the part about being an entrepreneur, especially when you're starting your own business and you are the leader, is everyone wants a piece of you. And for the longest time, that was something that stressed me out. I'm like, I'm only one person. But you almost have to step outside of your own body and see how everyone else is seeing you. And then that way, instead of managing you from inside of you, you have to manage you as if you were your own manager. Meaning you have to talk to these people as like, almost talking third person and be like, okay, he's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this, so that these people, because you are the nucleus of your existence. I mean, I don't mean to segue into that really fast, but you really are. Like, everything that happens to you, besides anything obviously bad or negative or something, but you are the nucleus of your existence. Like, you are in complete control of what is going on around you. And sometimes you have to step away from that and, control all of these atoms or molecules, if you will, that are surrounding you, and understand that these people are trying to build you up. They're trying to like instill power in you, but they actually also take energy away from you as well. So it's a way of being able to manage that. And you're right. People who may see me on social media or see me in a workout DVDs, it's like, oh, he's a personal trainer. Like, he shows up to a gym every day and probably trains a lot of clients, which is a ridiculously hard task in itself. But no, that's not what I do. And and I have tons and tons of people to talk to and answer to every day. So it is tough, but I think you have to be able to step outside of yourself to manage expectations.
That's great wisdom for all entrepreneurs. Shaun, you've been very generous with your time, and I know your time is very, very limited. And frankly, I'm going to cut this short because I want to be respectful of your time. And I'm now incredibly inspired to go do cardio abs for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah. on my workout today, I'm doing this. Me and a group of my friends, we're doing a program right now, and I'm doing a hybrid of all of my workouts. So today, I think I'm doing ab attack from Insanity Max 30, which is only 10 minutes, and then I'm doing either upper elite or the pyramid from T25 Gamma. So when you're working out, just know that I'm working out.
Oh, man. So what are you going to call it? You've got Insanity. You've got what's next? Killer? Your next program is going to be Killer?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I have a new program coming out in a month, which is another dance program. It's called Cize, C-I-Z-E, which is tagline is the end of exercise, because I find that, even though I have all these like crazy, ridiculous programs that you and I really like, there's a lot of people who don't like to feel like they're exercising, and dancing is a great way to work out without knowing that you're working out. So this program is amazing. I mean, at the end of each workout, you dance to like a popular song that everyone knows and loves, and you get to perform it and post it on Facebook with the hashtag Size It Up. So it's fun. So that's what's going to be released in late July, mid-July. So it's very exciting. I'm never, I was talking to the CEO of Beachbody yesterday, and I was like, I can make up a new fitness program every day. You should see what's going on in this head of mine. It's a little bit crazy up there.
That's exciting. Whatever you make, I'm going to buy. Tell us the best place to buy all your programs. Where do we go?
Yeah, you can go to ShaunTFitness.com and click on programs. For people who don't know, it's ShaunTFitness.com.
And we want everyone to subscribe to Shaun's really great podcast, Define Your Life with Shaun T. Listen, Shaun, all joking aside, I've promoted insanity so many times to all my friends that people think I actually have stock in your company. I've got, not to be immodest, but I've got an athletic background, and I have never found a better workout than your products. Especially my two favorites are Insanity and Asylum. If you're serious about fitness, you have got to get Insanity. That's just the bottom line.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I where do you live? Well, I don't know if you want to say this on your podcast, but
sure. Listen,
are you in the city?
Yeah, I'm in the city.
Oh, okay, cool. The fact that I would have liked to meet you anyway, but the fact that you played hockey, and to me, there's something fascinating about a lot of hockey players, because I find that sport to be extremely barbaric and crazy, and I need to get into your mind of how mentally strong you have to be to step on the ice. So I need to bring you on my Define Your Life podcast, because I think people need to hear from you, because I think you have a great perspective as to how mentally tough you have to be in life.
That's our next program, Shaun. It's going to be Shaun T and Paul D, and the program is going to be called Barbaric.
That's awesome. I love it.
Shaun, I'm a huge fan. I'm very grateful for your time. You're an inspiration to all entrepreneurs. Keep up the great work. I love watching you late night on TV, and I even more love doing your programs every single morning, 6 days a week.
Well, thanks, and I hope I can say thanks, Paulie D. I appreciate it.
Up next, J.A. taking your phone calls, 1-800-88-12345. That's the ultimate entrepreneur hotline powered by Dial 800. To speak with Jay Abraham, free. Call now, 1-800-88-12345.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
He's the $9 billion man.
It's your boy.
800-88-12345. The world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Doing very well today.
Good. Okay. Tell me a little bit about your business, your issue, your question now.
My business is a thoroughbred horse racing business. I'm stabled at Santa Anita Racetrack in Los Angeles. And my question or problem there is prospecting clients, getting new clients, and then certain new clients as well as existing clients. How do you really go for the right number when you're asking investors?
I got to ask some interruptive questions. Apologies,
Sure.
but it's my style, Jeff. Okay. First of all, are you trying to get clients to buy horses, put their horses there, pay you to train their horses, all the above, none of the above? What's the service or services you are selling? And also tell me what the price points are respectively.
I train thoroughbred racehorses, and then some people have horses, but they may have trainers already. So some of those may be looking for a new trainer, but what I'm actually looking for is cultivating new owners and new business and new investors.
Okay, stop. So before I even ask you the price points, what are the incentives besides prestige in me investing in one or more thoroughbreds and readying them and training them and sending them on the circuit? What's in it for me besides the prestige of being a horse owner?
There's the investment side of things where you could often buy a horse for $20,000 or $30,000, and it could earn 100 or 200,000 over the course of a year or two.
And I'm going to interrupt.
Career.
I'm going to interrupt Jeff as we're talking. And when I ask questions, they're not to demean you or your industry. They're just to give me calibration. What is it? What do you think the statistical probability is that happens? Does that happen often or infrequently, that somebody spends 20 and makes 100?
If we're looking at percentages, maybe 30, 40% of the time.
Okay, and it would be great if you knew all the data so that when you are ready to harness, no pun intended, the strategy I give you, you could just spew off these stats and contrast and make it look very powerful, like you are authoritative. So you believe 30 or more % of the time, a $20,000 investment can yield 100 in the right situation. Now, is that a 20 static investment, or does that count also the service they've got to pay to you every month for stalling the horse, training the horse, everything?
That's a $20,000 initial investment and a $3,000 per month upkeep.
Okay, so it's really more like 36 and 20. So now 56 just made 100, so the yield's a little lower, but it's still not a bad. If that were true enough times, it's not a bad return. So where have you seen in the past the highest sources really emanate from for horse owners, racehorse owners, investors? Where have your colleagues found them, and where have you found most of your clients?
Most of mine I've found through word of mouth or referrals. They're business people, not necessarily already in the racing game, but they're business people that are looking for entertainment as well as investment.
Let me ask you this, and again, I'm not trying to demean you because I don't know enough about your scope of operation. Do you have a lot of clients right now?
I have a base of about 10 to 15 clients.
So does each one have one horse or multiple horses?
They'll have percentages of multiple horses.
Okay, so one might have a half interest in 4 horses.
Correct.
Okay, so how many horses totally are you training?
10.
If you looked at the 10 horses, and if it's fractionalized, the 10 or 20 or 30 clients represented there, how many own their own business?
6 of the 15.
Of the other 9, what distinguishes, if anything, any commonality or any distinctions that are common to them?
No, they all, work for companies and they enjoy horses, so they got involved.
I can't tell. You have a very youthful voice. I don't want to ask you chronologically your age, but how long have you been doing this?
Chronologically, I've been doing it for 30 years, and it's no problem, 45 years of age.
Okay, so you were a young man when you started. You must love horses. Now,
That's correct.
On a comparative basis, if you go all around the other stables at Santa Anita or any of the other tracks here or anywhere else, how does your performance stack up against everyone else on any criteria that an investor would really judge, be they wins, successes, return, yield, any criteria? How do you look?
They do keep in the program/racing form, they'll keep statistics much like a baseball player, and they'll put how many starts, how many first, seconds, and thirds you've had. And I'd say the big criteria is wins to starts, which basically gives you a batting average, but it's called a winning percentage. Okay,
that's interesting, and it's good cocktail conversation. How does yours look?
Mine is, I would say, in the middle, but a slightly above average.
How's your pricing as far as training and other services? Is it par or above or below?
Below par.
You charge
reasonably
less.
Priced.
So
Correct.
You're very reasonable, and your performance is at least as good and probably a little better than the average.
Correct.
If you go above you, and again, I'm not trying to demean you, I'm just trying to put myself in the mind of a prospect. If you got me excited about wanting to invest in a horse in training, I could then think, okay, well, for $3,000, it's Jeff. For $4,000, it's somebody else. Is the next level a lot more expensive, and the yield, as far as the stats, the win to start or whatever ratio, not that much different? Or do you know?
My general feeling is the stats might be equal or a tad better. The monthly upkeep would be more, and definitely the initial investment, where I'm saying $20,000. Some of these other stables, the initial investment, I would say is $100,000.
And is that because you're going to find them a greater sort of a raw horse and train it?
Yes. Look for, obviously a proven commodity costs more, like you said, like a rookie player, a lower salary, versus a proven horse or professional athlete would cost more.
I get it. But you're saying you have an 80% advantage on the entry for against the more expensive, but is that advantage really an advantage? Can you show that because that might be another stat that you've never looked at, that you turn more, I don't know if it's a green horse, young horse, whatever the word in the industry parlance is, into successes? Do you have that stat, and is that stat really impressive?
There are multiple stats that the racing industry keeps, and I would have to review that.
I would suggest to you this, interrupting you, Jeff, but whatever strategy comes out of my mouth, and I'm not sure yet what I'm going to tell you, but whatever it is, it will be dramatically enhanced, and the impact will be many times more if you can look 18 ways to Sunday from a CAT scan analysis at every way you can compare, denominate, demonstrate that you have given people a superior yield on comparative factors that most people don't even look at, but that could be very important. For example, if most people have to pay $100 for a seasoned horse, and for $20, you have an 80% success rate for $80,000 less, and you can show that most of that half of your horses win in the first 2 years, and half of the $100,000 ones don't. And you can, I'm just sort of bringing raw, hypothetical data out of the air. I don't know what the real comparative is, but if you can make about 4 or 5 killer cases, two things happen. One, you've just created for yourself preemptive, proprietary data that is distinguishing you from everybody else. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So I'd want to learn all that stuff and figure out where you excel. And if you don't quite excel, it might be that you want to add or take away something from your package. If it's $3,000 a month, but you might say, hey, it's $3,000 a month, but I'll pay for the first 3 months. If you know the average client's going to stay 3 years, and it really only costs you incrementally to add one more horse to the process, almost nothing but food and an extra hour a day, you might want to try to find something so cool and incomparable that also, I'm giving you a totally different realm, distinguishes you. Now let me ask you this. You've built a business that sounds like you've got 10 times 3, which is $30,000 a month coming in from your 10 clients. What is your capacity, both with your existing infrastructure, meaning staff, your own time, your ability, travel, and the facilities? How many more could you accommodate?
20.
Okay. And if you had 20, are you paying, or do you have the stable space and it's yours, or you have to rent them on an individual horse basis?
The track allocates. So if you have the horses to run, they'll accommodate you as far as getting more stalls.
But do they charge you for them?
No.
It's okay. So you get the stalls gratis. And what are your for your $3,000, what's the cost to you?
Okay. It's grooming, feeding, vitamins, exercise, again, stable staff that grooms, walks these horses, races them.
I'm stepping on you, but not to be rude, to be very respectful. I'm going to try to get as much as I can in. So how much incremental time and how much, you know what incremental means, obviously, additional to what you're spending now, does it take to groom, feed, exercise one more horse? Is it $100, $200? How much is it really?
Per month?
Yes, roughly.
Per month, it's going to be probably $2,500.
Wow. So you're only making $500 a horse?
Yes. Now,
where's all that money go to?
Like I said, the feed, the exercise rider, the groom.
But let me ask you an interruptive question. Is it subcontract? You don't have staff that basically does it for you? You go out and you get a different rider to ride each horse and you pay him or her per?
So say like there's 10 horses, so 2 grooms, you'd have five horses per groom. The rider would ride all 10 of them, that kind of thing.
But is there a place of not diminishing return, but of basically almost zero expense? In other words, if the groom rode 6 instead of 5, is that practical or is that not practical? You'd have to have another groom.
No, it would. What you do, it's almost like you would pro rata the extra horse.
If you're only really making, are you imputing money for yourself in the $2,500?
I guess on top of it is, like we talked about the horses earning money, there's 10% commission earned. I
was just going to ask that. But on the $2,500, have you put $500 or $600 in there before the remaining 5, or is all you're making is $500 a transaction?
I would say $500 a transaction.
Okay. All right. So let me give you some very quick things you can do. Number 1, if referrals and word of mouth has been the source, then you start formalizing it. Formalizing it means a bunch of different things. It means starting with the 10 people who are your clients and telling them that you are interested in expanding, and the best source you've found are people who hang out with the same quality people, and you'd like to invite them to invite people they think would enjoy the experience, the excitement, handle the risk, and like the rewards, and are comfortable with that, to meet with you, be your guest, spend some time, and you start by doing that. Secondly, if you know that a horse is going to stay on average 2, 3, 4 years, even at $500, that's still basically $20,000, $30,000 worth of profit, not counting your share of the purses. You could give a reasonable share of the first 5, 6, 7 months worth of your 500 to other people who have access to the same profile. I suspect entrepreneurs that really are more speculative, and you have to see what they invest in, what their hobbies are, but there's a lot of different people who have access to the same kind of a profile. You could go to them, you could ask them to invite people to either a seminar, a dinner, whatever you wanted to do. I would think coming to Santa Anita and having lunch or breakfast or dinner in the clubhouse and going to the stall and watching the training would be very exciting to the right people. And then you would have a migration process to convert them from an interested person to a client. And I think you just have to have enough people in process. But there are about 93 different formalized ways, Jeff, you can really harness, again, no pun intended, referral generating strategies. And if you've never used any and you just sort of let things happen, merely by going to your clients, going to your past clients, going to everybody else you know who hangs out with the caliber of people that represent the target audience, and formally describing who you want and formally telling them you really believe that it's best to get your new clients from people who already associate with existing clients, and that you want to invest in them first, and you'd love to host them at the racetrack, to get them to know it, to give them some history, to let them really see what it's like, to hang out, talk to some owners. I think that's a good start, and I'm going to run out of time, but I hope it helps.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much.
And a big thanks to Shaun T. ShaunTFitness.com. ShaunTFitness.com. To be on this show, 1-800-8812-345. That's the ultimate entrepreneur hotline powered by Dial 800. Get more calls, more sales, more response with a custom memorable number like ours from dial800.com. Every show is designed to help you grow your business exponentially. We help you do that with the Abraham Mastermind Alliance, free. A dynamic organization, like-minded entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals from all over the world. They have a passionate commitment to building a business that's preeminent, preemptive, and highly profitable. The Abraham Mastermind Alliance. As a fan of this show, free downloads, free resources. All the info's at abraham.com. I'm Paul Durante.
This has been a presentation of Abraham Media, the world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham.
He's a very, very special man. He's brilliant.
Jay Abraham has an idea a minute mind. He is a marketing guru that never stops. He's a cash flow, an advertising, and a sales generating machine.
If there was a Hall of Fame or a Super Bowl of business or marketing, this man would be there.
In fact, Jay was the person who helped the founder of Federal Express triple his business with one great idea.
The $9 billion man, Jay Abraham. Join the Abraham Mastermind Alliance today at abraham.com.